In this chapter, we'll cover class and objects. In order to understand class, let's understand. So what is a class? In order to understand the relation between class and object, we will use the analogy of a car. Imagine that BMW wants to build next generation car with some cool features. First, the designers would be creating a blueprint. Once those are finalized, the manufacturing unit would be converting the blueprint into real cars. The same analogy can be applied to class and object. The class can be thought of a blueprint, hence it is called a logical entity, an object to be the actual car. So class contains data members called as attributes or properties. It contains methods that operate on that data. The data and methods are called members of the class. Data members allow to hold information, whereas methods give behavior to the class. So let's take a look at sample class declaration. So here we have declared playing ball as a class. It has got various attributes. So type is one of the attribute, radius is one of the attribute, and each of the type has got its own data type. We'll talk about attributes later. First construct we have is package. So what is a package? Package allows classes to be grouped. So in this case, this particular class belongs to this particular package. So why is package necessary? Package is important because it prevents name conflicts. For example, we have defined a playing ball class here, but there might be another playing ball class, let's say in a graphics module, which has all these attributes plus the coordinates. So we want to distinguish this playing ball with the playing ball in the graphics module. So in that case, this particular playing ball is belonging to com.quedx.course1.part2. The other one probably will be belonging to all this dot graphics. The other use of package is to make searching and locating the classes easier. For example, you can see that we are using power. Power is a method of this particular class util. But where does util belong? So util belongs to this particular package. So when we would have created util class, we would have specified com.quedx.course1.part1.com as the package name. We will talk about packages in much more detail in another chapter. The next construct is import. So import indicates package or class to be imported in this class. So if I want to use any class in this particular class, so I need to mention that I'm importing that particular class. Only then we'll be able to use it. So if I don't want to do this import, so we'll have to put the entire qualifier here where we are using it. So if I don't use import, this particular statement util.power is going to look like com.quedx.course1.part1.common.util.power. Use of import makes easier to write this because there might be other methods from this particular class that we want to use. So we don't want to repeat this entire package name at the place where we want to use it. So the next keyword we are going to look at is public. So public is the access modifier. It makes this class accessible to others. The next keyword is class. The class keyword tells compiler that we are declaring a class. After that, we are telling the compiler that is the name of the class. So basically, in this case, playing ball is the class name. Note that class name always has to match the file name in which we are declaring this particular class. As we talked about, These are the data members. We'll go into the much detail about data members. And these are the methods or the member methods. So we'll also talk about member methods in much more detail in next chapter. So here are some key points to remember about class. The class name must be unique within the package. So we cannot have two classes of same name within the same package. Class is called empty class if it doesn't have anything. So it is perfectly fine to declare a class which doesn't have any data members or member methods. The file name must match the class name. In order to use other classes, one must import them. We saw that in our example class. Static members can be directly used with class name dot member name. So what it tells us is we don't have to create object. We'll be talking about objects in next chapter. Non-static members can be used through instance of that class. So in order to use non-static members, we have to first create an instance. We'll be looking at what an instance is in the next chapter. So this is the class that we talked about earlier. So we are declaring this class in this particular package. Right. Now let's try to see if I can copy this and try to have another class with the same name. Now you can see that this is throwing a compilation error. The type playing ball is already defined. So we cannot do that, right? We can have only one class of same name within a given package. So this is incorrect. So we have got rid of that. Now let's see if we can get rid of this import. So if I comment this out, so it is going to complain about this, saying that it doesn't know where to get the util from. So one way is basically definitely this uncomment this, right? The other way is to specify the fully qualified package name here, right? So this should be fine. But as you can see, this is a little cumbersome and my expression also looks big now. And there might be use case where we might have multiple methods from this particular class. Hence, it is advisable to, to just say that import that particular class or package and then use it like util.power. Now let's take a look at if we can have another playing ball with a different package, right? So let's copy this. So let's call this playing ball 2 for now. And we'll actually move this to a different package. Let's say graphics, right? And we'll fix this by say move it to its own package. So we have created another playing ball and we'll now rename this to playing ball. So as you can see, this is perfectly fine. So we have declared one more playing ball, but it is in totally different package. So this is perfectly acceptable. So wherever we want to use it, we have to make sure that you are importing the correct package so that it can use the correct version of the playing ball that you are interested in. To access non-static members, one must create an instance of the class. An instance of a class is called an object. We use new operator to create an object. So what does the new operator do? The new operator first allocates memory. It creates the object by calling the constructor in the allocate memory. It returns the reference to that object. So here is a sample code. So we have playing ball as our class. So we are declaring a variable b1 of type playing ball. So there is going to be a memory allocation for b1. So far B1 is null. Next, we introduce B1 is equal to new playing ball. So we are using the new operator, and after that we are specifying the constructor without any argument. So here you can see that it is creating an object. So that object contains header, then type and radius. Type and radius are the attributes or the members of that. And since we are doing B1 equals to new, so it is the new operator is giving us a reference which will be storing it in B1. Now what we can do is we can use B1 which contains the reference to playing ball object. We can change or we can set the radius and the type. So we are setting B1 dot radius is equal to 10. So this will be assigning 10 to radius, and then B1 dot type equals to football. So it will be assigning football string to type. Let's take a look at a demo example. So in this example, we have playing ball demo class. In here we have public static method from which we'll be creating an instance. So let's create an instance of playing ball B1. B1 now contains an object of playing ball or instance of playing ball. So now we can use B1 to access its various properties or attributes. Let's say this is going to be a cricket ball, so we'll make it like 2 inches, and we'll say that the type is going to be cricket ball. So as you can see here, we are using B1 to access its data members, and we are directly setting them. Though this is generally a bad idea, we'll talk about it later on when we cover encapsulation. So let's use system.out.println to print these values. And if we try to run this, so you can see it is printing the radius and the type as cricket ball. Now we can just replicate this code. So we can be able to create any number of instances. Let's create one more instance. Since B1 already exists, we'll name this as B2. And instead of cricket ball, let's make this football. And possibly the radius is going to be, let's say, 8 inches. And if you try to run this, it should display 2 inches for cricket ball and 8 inches for football as expected. If there are static members, then we don't need an instance. So let's see how this operates. So we'll comment this out, right? And let's introduce a static member in the playing ball. So we'll say that string make. So let's say this ball is being made by Nike, right? Now we want to make this as static, right? So you can see we have made this as static, and if you go to our demo example, we should be able to do sys out directly. So you can see without having to create the instance, we are able to directly invoke it. And let's try to run this. The make of the playing ball is Nike, right? So for a static data members, we don't need an instance. Now the other thing to be pointed out here is you can see that we are creating the instance using the constructor, right? Now, but this constructor, if you go on to the declaration, there is no constructor that we have defined. You can see that we are not defining any constructor. So by default, if there is no constructor that is provided, Java is going to provide it for you, right? And the default constructor would have 0 arguments. So that's the reason In demo, we are able to call the constructor without any arguments. So that concludes our class and object. So let's do a quick recap. The file name must match the class name. Packages are used to group the classes. The class name must be unique within the package. Same class name is possible only if they are declared in separate packages. Non-static members can be accessed through the instance of class only, whereas static members can be directly accessed using className.memberName. Use new operator to create instance of the class. So that concludes our class and object chapter.